Don't talk about Byron
I
like
love
that.
Byron. I would
That
count
is
Byron.
not nice, dude.
I would
I'm
count
telling
Byron.
Byron.
Byron's
I'm
an
telling
automaker,
Byron you said that.
But no.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Drag Racing Friends. It is Season 1, Episode 6, and on this episode we are going to talk all about Radial racing versus NHRA Big Show drag racing, and of course the no prep scene. Which is better? Which is cooler? Is one really better than the other, or do we all just love race cars going down the racetrack? And I am a fan of all of them, but I am super excited to have two great guests on today, besides my co-host Barrett Green, who is in the house wearing his Oaks hat. I like that. But Brent Self and Mark Woodruff are in the house out of Missouri. Thanks for joining us, boys.
Thanks for having us.
Dude, you guys are the best. You know how much I love hanging out with you guys at the races. I very specifically remember the very first time I got to hang out with you, which was at one of the Radial races up at North Star Dragway, and you were cooking. And you can tell that it's the fat guy because you had steaks and bacon-wrapped asparagus and all this going. And I'm like, dude, I'm hanging out with Woody. Like, I thought he was rad because of the car before, but it turns out he cooks really well. And so it's been awesome hanging out with you guys a ton of times, obviously, at other races. But are you hanging in there during all this craziness?
Oh yeah, no, we're moving right along, and business is moving. The racing, we hit the COVID 8 with Donald. We've done Woodstock, did a little bit of testing here and there. We've got a race actually next weekend at the House of Hook. Myself and Mark Mickey and Jerry and Jimmy that run the place there are putting the race on. I think we're doing small block no time, small block boosted, and then Pro 275, just a Saturday night show, 2 qualifiers, run right into eliminations, and quick, easy, and fast, but we're expecting a big turnout.
Well, we're looking forward to it for sure. I got to tell you, we got a lot to talk about tonight because the drag racing world has changed so much in the last decade from a technological standpoint, from a series perspective, all the kinds of drag racing that happen now. I think it's going to be fun to get your perspective on some of that stuff. I have to say, I grew up as an NHRA, stock eliminator and super stock drag racer, right? The original small tire, by the way, a 930/15 slick, back in the day. We had a great time drag racing that way, and it was fun. And I was the diehard flag waving NHRA guy that didn't think anything else was worth a damn, quite frankly. And I've learned different, obviously, since then. But, it seems to me that racing in general has gotten more segmented in the drag racing world, where, it used to be that you were a drag race fan and then you had favorites, right? Like, a pro stock or funny car or pro mod or whatever. Now you're into radial racing, or you're into no prep, or you're into, whatever, like a particular segment of the drag racing population rather than a particular class. And I think that that's changed some of the ways that we cover drag racing, that we enjoy drag racing and stuff. And I think some of it for the better, and some of it maybe not as good. So we're going to go over that. But before we get to that tonight, we are going to cover our insanity segment. So you guys know where the link is in your chat. We all have to watch this video. I have not seen this video. All I can tell you is that there is some serious explosion going on with a turbocharger in this one. Damn!
Oh, jeez.
Wow!
Watch out! Stop!
Touch it!
Holy crap! Wow! Dude, that is nuts!
I think what made that better is if the guy would have tried to pick it up. He'd be like, oh shit, that's hot!
Oh my god, dude. I can't believe oh my god. Dude, look at that thing spinning.
Hey, I got a cool game we can play now. Just the
Dude.
turbo manufacturer.
Oh, now, okay, my producer is in my ear saying, hey, quick, name the turbo manufacturer. Hell no, we ain't stupid. We ain't doing that shit.
No. That is what happens when you put nitromethane on a turbo application.
Dude, holy
Yeah.
crap. You see the flame shooting out of that thing?
Propane.
Dude,
Yeah.
so here's the thing. You guys know I love turbochargers. I love all power adders. In fact, I believe that the worst thing you can possibly do is only run one. But I know the rules usually only allow it. So I'm okay with that if the rules say it. But, that kind of carnage, the diesel guys blow stuff up like crazy all the time. But, man, we've seen a lot of carnage in the last few years as guys are pushing the absolute extreme limits, of every component in a race car trying to run the number. What's the craziest thing that you've had blow up?
We were...
Hey, Brent, I didn't ask about your connecting rods. We'll get to those in a minute.
Oh, no, we're good.
We were in St. Louis, and I've got the vet's got a 5-inch bore space semi-Hemi Sonny Leonard engine in it,
Yeah.
560 cubic inch. And I made the lap. I think it went 371 at 212, something like that.
Yeah.
Nice clean run. Clicked it into neutral. And as soon as I kicked it into neutral, this thing hung the rods out of it. And it hung not one. It hung all 8 of them.
No way.
Yes. And I'm telling you right now, that is the craziest feeling to be inside the car. It literally shook every damn thing on the car apart.
Yeah.
Every fitting on the car was loose. Every bolt on the car was loose. It was hell. I think it even unzipped my driving suit. It was.
Hey, I think all it was trying to do was help you take itself apart already.
Yeah, it was.
It was bad.
It was quite intense. I mean, it didn't put anything on the racetrack. Everything went in the containment pan. But we I got off the track and we pulled it back, and they come to get me, and they're like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "Oh, it's trash."
You got some work to do for next round, boys.
And we went and put it in the air and pulled the belly pan off of it, and we were just in amazement. I've never seen an engine and I've raced for quite some time.
Stuff up.
To take all 8 out at one time, I mean, that's top fuel shit, man.
Dude, yeah, that is top fuel shit right there. Now, I have to ask, do you have any extra containment pans and stuff laying around so you can give one to Brent so he can put it on the Nova? Because he, unlike you, put all the oil on the ground when he kicked how many rods out of your shit? Yeah, 2.
The new setup's got containment pans and a diaper.
Yeah.
So
I joke with you because I love you, Brent, and because your car is one of my favorites. You know that on an absolute truthful level. I love that car. It just does it for me. Real street car, real fun, And right now, I mean, I've got Daphne's wagon in the back right now. We're putting it together with the nitrous combo to take it on Rocky Mountain Race Week here in a couple of weeks, and so fast street car stuff is fun, for sure. But let's talk about radial racing. You boys are as diehard as they come, right? You have grown with the radial racing world. You have changed classes in the radial racing world. You have been part of the revolution and the evolution of the drag radial racing world. I mean, you've set records, you've won events. You guys really have done it all, but you also have been at an event and blown it up, right? You've paid all the prices, so to speak.
For sure.
yeah, I think we started out at Donald's. We went to one of Donald's races back before it was even called Lights Out or whatever he calls these races now. And back then, people were running, like Mickey didn't even have a tire yet. It was still the BFG drag radial. So we were running on, what, a true 10.5 back then?
Well, and to back up even further than that,
Yeah.
I mean, we I started out street racing, and
Right.
What got me into drag racing. So we'll back it up to 5 or 6 years old. My uncle would take me to the U.S. Nationals every year.
Yeah.
And that was a treat for me.
Heck yeah.
Me and my cousins, we'd load up in a 76 Bronco, and that was in mint condition. I mean, like this thing never even come out of the garage.
Right.
Only to go to the U.S. Nationals.
That's awesome.
And we would get in this, and we would drive over there, and we were the little assholes running around the pits, taking all the hero cards and the stickers. And I mean, I would get so much stuff. I would take it to school and sell it. I would get it on Sunday, sell it.
I love it. I love that.
I did that until I was 16 years old, and then went into some local drag strips and stuff, and then I got involved in the law, out around the cops, and I had a 2-year probation from a judge that I had to go to the drag strip on a Friday night, and that was my probation.
That's pretty good.
Lucky.
Yeah.
No, he honestly changed my life on that, and just had junk cars, and went there and raced, and dialed them in and ran them, and I had to bring a friend every Friday night. I had to bring somebody new, and we grew that program locally. The racetrack ended up shutting down. It was a little 8-mile track, about 20 minutes from my house here, but then we started street racing and doing some different stuff, and once that got to be crazy and out of hand, as we started getting faster, we ran a lot of True 10-5 races, Sykeston, Missouri, Jackson, Tennessee, Memphis. Basically, when Orska formed the limited street deal, that was where my heart was at, and I liked the look of the cars, that they were real looking, and it had the right tires set up on it, and it was something that we were drawn to. And then the evolution of what Donald did with his events, we showed up with my Nova at his very first event in Georgia at SGMP, and did okay. I mean, I back then, I mean, we were top 4, 5, 6, and slick tire limited street deal, 29 10-5 Mickey, and which I feel like LDR should be on that tire today. If you want to limit a class, that tire was so fun to race on, and it really tightened up the field pretty good back then. But then we switched over to the Radial and made the evolution there, and here we are today. I've been to every one of Donald's events. At least I bought a tech card. The year I wrecked the Blue Vet, the 67, testing the week before. Obviously, we didn't participate in that event, but I'd already pre-entered, and we had bought a tech card and everything. But I think I'm one of the only that have been to every one of his events. But,
I'll tell you here. You talk about this, and I remember, when I first saw your Corvette, and I reinforced this looking at it, for the next couple of years, because it started out as a 10-5 car. Back in the day, the rules were that it had to have the factory front frame rails still in the car. You could put different control arms on it or what have you, but it still had to have the factory front frame rails, and your car did forever. I don't know if it still does, but I know it did for a very long time.
Yeah, it does not. I wrecked it in the final at the U.S. Street Nationals.
Oh, that's right.
And we wanted to make Donald's race, and because it was 3 weeks later.
Yeah.
And we hightailed it from Bradenton, Florida to Larry Jeffers.
Yep.
They hacked it and whacked it, and 3 weeks later we were racing. We were at SGMP qualifying.
That's awesome. Jeffers is great
commitment.
people. They do a very good job. They turn cars around fast. I mean, it's amazing. But you know, back then, like I said, factory frame rails, you know, this car was, you know, it was so legit as a 10.5 car before you started running it on the radials. One of the things I've been really vocal about that I just drives me insane nowadays is RVW. And not because, I mean, no, I don't like the Pro Mod cars in RVW. You and I have had this discussion, all of us. I do not believe that Pro Mods should be in RVW. But it is what it is. But there is no more VW in RVW. Okay? There is no more versus the world. There is no more world. Back in the day, it was Radial guys running 10.5 guys. It was, we will put our Radial cars up against any of y'all motherfuckers that will bring your shit out. And that is not what it is anymore. It is no longer RVW. They should call it, you know, Pro Drag Radial, whatever the hell you want to call it. I don't care. But it's not the same.
The acronym is the same and always will be the same. The word itself changed about 6 years ago.
Yep.
It went from Radial versus the world to Radial versus the wall.
Yep.
Yes.
And that's the truth of it. And we, you know, the diehard guys, myself, Tim Slavens, Mark Mickey, you know, with the Malibu, the real deal cars that were legit and still can contend.
Right.
But you know, and I just had this conversation with Donald today on the phone. I'm like, I would, if Radial racing, if we qualified on a Friday night and we raced and eliminated on a Saturday night and it was all night session stuff, stock wheelbase, stock body car could compete.
Yep.
When you change the format to where it's a home run derby on Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday, Saturday, and then we do a one eliminator on Saturday night, and then you got to go in Sunday morning. And now, I mean, you make the field there. There's no duds. I mean, you got a hitter in the other lane that can go fast, but that's the exciting part about it. But when you go and you take a car like my Corvette, like all the ballast out of the car, and it's 2,850 pounds.
Right.
The minimum weight for a twin turbo big block is 2,750.
Yeah.
So I'm carrying an extra 100 with no ballast in the car, which the car's not balanced at that point.
No, exactly. It won't run that way.
And we go and we've got second round eliminations at 11 o'clock, and it's 130 degree track temperature. I'm screwed. The only way you compete with that is to do what I did and build a Pro Mod chassis with the Camaro. So
well, and so here though is the thing. You also have embraced the Pro 275 category, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, my hope as a fan of radial tire drag racing is that class can stay a little more pure. Okay. I don't know if it's possible. I know that at some point it will piss us all off. It's drag racing. That's how it works, right? But
it's already there.
My Pollyanna attitude is that I'd really love it if that one can stay pure and true. What about you?
The supporters of the class right now, myself included, and a lot of other people have voiced that we don't want to see Pro Mods there.
No.
And I have a Pro Mod that can fall over to that class.
Yeah.
And if need be, but I don't want it. And that's kind of why I built what I built. So right. I built a twin turbo, 4,600 bore space, small block Pro Mod for RVW. Yeah. I've got a big block twin turbo car that can compete in RVW or be in Pro 275. So that kind of gives me a little bit of an advantage over some other people to discuss rules. And you know, I've got both sides of the coin, if you will.
I like that.
To debate it. And
so it makes you a little more
unbiased.
Yeah, exactly. You've got a little bit more of a level head about the whole thing, because you're not having to defend your combination because you've got multiple.
No, you want to keep it fair for everybody and have good racing.
You said one thing, though, that I want to make sure we don't pass up. You talk about the length of some of these events, some of Duck's races. It's crazy, right? You also talked about, the Radial versus Wallet. Going around the pits at one of Donald's races, we'll say, right? You can see that there are all levels of racer at those events, right? But in general, it's not a poor man's sport. We all know that, right? But there are guys that would roll by you, and you have the big toter and the stacker and all of the stuff, and you have an incredibly clean operation that the two of you take a lot of pride in. You guys work very hard, but it's a nice looking setup and all that. But you and I both know you are not one of the guys spending the most money out there, right? I mean, it's not to shortchange the amount you are spending. You're spending more money than I could spend, right? Nobody's going to deny that. But you certainly are not throwing the money at it that some of these guys are doing nowadays.
No. I mean, everything that I've done in my racing program from, I've been racing since I was 15 years old. And it's progressively, I'm a wheeler and dealer. I'm upgrading, and I try to take care of my stuff and just the image that you talked about, that we've got a clean operation and the car's good, and we've got nice equipment, and I mean, it doesn't look like we just drove the truck and trailer through the cornfield getting there.
No.
We're proud of what we've got, but to retain the value and the value proposition that we have, it's been easy for me to upgrade and sell off what I've got because we've maintained it, and as I've saved money or worked deals and always trying to improve. And I mean, that's what we do to try to be better. I know that I'm never going to be the guy that goes and spends the most money to chase after this deal. I love competing against them guys.
Yeah.
We love competing against them guys because there's I don't get any more amped up than whenever I'm racing one of either the world record holder or the guy that won the last race or whatever. I mean, you want to put me on my game and know that you're going to get everything I got. Give me one of them guys on the next round of the eliminations, and it's coming.
All right, so Brent, welcome to the show. We appreciate you being on here, and I think you would be excited about being on the show if you had heard the conversation that's been going on as we talk about radial racing versus the no prep scene. It hasn't been a lot of bashing, but a little bit of bashing, but only on some specific stuff like no prep kings versus the rest of the radial or the no prep world. So as a no prep guy, tell us, what is it that you love about no prep?
This weekend, though, I was going to cut you before.
Well,
I was going to say this weekend was team radio prep.
We're doing a radio prep this weekend, but the challenge of anybody can go fast on glue. That's why we're going to go do it this weekend. We like to go fast every now and then, but the challenge of getting down a track on.
Wait. What are we considering fast?
Well, I mean, it's no time event, but
so whatever the hell he says the race back said it was. My Davis box said I ran.
No, it ain't gonna be like that now. But I think there'll be.
Everybody's fast, but the clocks are off.
I don't bullshit.
Yes.
I think there's gonna be some cars there go 390s, 380s. I'm gonna say the small tire field's gonna be.
That is quick.
410s, 420s, maybe 40s. I don't know.
Where's that?
Holly Springs.
Holly Springs.
Yeah.
Oh, Holly. Yeah, no, there'll be some fast cars there.
It'll be a good show. Russell and them, the guys that race with us on the no prep, they wanted to do a prep race. That's all they've ever done. Me personally, I've never been a prep racer. I like no prep, and anybody can go fast on glue, or most of them can, or a big tire.
What is the event?
Black,
'Cause I don't go
just
into it,
Black
but I
Sheep
haven't heard
Mafia
about it.
versus the world. It's just a little small deal we throw together. Pretty good payouts.
Cool.
Yeah,
Friday
Friday night
and
is
Saturday night, or?
protesting. It'll be all radial testing Friday night, and then Saturday we're gonna run
You said protesting, and I thought, oh shit, you're having a protest and a drag race.
and they're gonna run an index class in the heat, and then when the sun gets down, we're gonna start radial running. So it'll be a good time, but
Right on.
What are the classes?
small tire, big tire, 6.0, 7.0. Then we have a small tire nitrous, for the slower cars. So a lot of them nitrous cars are slow.
What's considered a
Anything
big
bigger
tire?
than 275. So,
Look at that, Woody. I can see the wheels turning. You know what, Woody? If you look in his ear right there, right now, it looks like one of those Moroso displays at the parts store where you turn the little thing in a climbing lube. That's what it looks like.
The Lucas.
Lucas oil display.
It is. But remember, back in the day, it was the Moroso climbing lube before Lucas did it. But yes, that's exactly what it looks like. Except there's a mouse in there running the wheel.
I love Holly Springs.
It's rad.
I actually hope the radial tire record.
if you don't come
Lock
this
it
weekend,
in,
though, that'll
baby.
probably get broke.
Oh,
You know, there's gonna be no damn
now,
clock on.
hey, okay, so Barrett, back me up on this.
You can't break what don't happen.
Okay, Barrett, back me up on this. Because you put on a bunch of no prep races, you've been involved in a lot of no prep races. Dude, I've never ever heard a no prep, no time racer go, I don't bullshit. I don't bullshit. They all say that. Every one of you. Dude, so we don't believe any of you. And remember, too, my mantra, never let the truth get in the way of a good story, right?
Yeah,
so,
that was my favorite thing is, a lot of the no preps, you don't get a time slip. So I'm up there, on some of the ones that I announced from the tower, obviously timing system's working. I'm like, damn. So then I'll go down and talk to somebody, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's a real good run. Deadlogger said I went 390. And I'm like, who sold you that one? You need to adjust it the other way. This ain't no Mustang dyno.
Yeah. Hillary Clinton was a no prep racer.
Yeah, there you go.
That email.
Right.
Sorry.
Oh my
That's
God.
one thing about class racing. You can't bullshit about your times because they're televised or there's a picture of it somewhere.
And two, no time or not, Brent's car, right? It's, small tire, big block, F3, it's making some steam. About where it should live in the ET range.
For sure.
Anybody that's familiar with racing.
And anybody that knows drag racing can look at a pass and see, that was pretty fucking quick.
Yeah.
Now, so so for your world, if you prefer the no glue, right? No prep racing. What is it? Is it the challenge of going quick on no prep, or is it the atmosphere and the pace of the racing and all of that is better to you, or is it some combination?
It's kind of a both. I mean, we had other than Ducks race, most races you go to, you got 150 people sitting up there. We race it, rather than NHRA stuff. So you go to no prep events and you got the stands used to be packed till No Prep Kings came out, and now our payouts were triple what they were getting in radial racing. I mean, Russell told me when they would go run that whatever Ford class shit they used to run, he said, they'd race for $3,500. Well, I mean, I went to San Antonio this past winter and won $45,000 that weekend. I mean, between side bets and I won.
Is that winner take all?
Yeah.
Is it winner take all?
Every bit of our stuff.
Okay.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And we've won every event there for the last three. And I didn't go to the last one, but the last two before that, I won.
All the Project X races.
I won them.
You won the last
one. And, so
Can I borrow some money? I got a bunch of shit to put together. Can I borrow some money?
He's a poor bean farmer, guys. He ain't got no money.
I can tell you, it was gone before I ever made it. I mean, I was hoping I won that to be able to get home.
Yeah, I'm with you.
But,
yeah, exactly.
But no, it's a challenge. I mean, it's like Barrett said, you have the guys that tickles me. It's not going to call no names, but there's some boys from South Texas, and they'll come up and they're like, man, we just went 440 of that pass. The hell you say? My buddy just went 470 and gapped you, you know? I mean, I know where he was at, you know what I mean? And
well, my favorite thing ever is when you're at a race and the guy that is, bitching because he's got video on his phone showing that your tire cracked before and all that is the guy that somehow doesn't seem to understand that a phone records at one of two frame rates, either 30 frame rates a second or 60. And so I can sit there and record your race and I can tell you to within 5 or 6 thou what it ran just by watching the video on my phone. So, it's like, dude, hello, it is not that hard.
That's the second favorite thing at a race, if I'm there. Because you like my meat.
Oh. I do. That's true. I do.
I'm
not going to lie. That man cooks meat like none other.
I've got a nickname for when Woody barbecues.
What?
It's called the vulture.
Oh, dude. Yes.
Come around.
Oh, hell yeah.
Hey, let's do a quick interview.
I love? I love the fact
please?
that Woody never, ever, ever screws up a vegetable by cooking it by himself. It's always wrapped in bacon or something else good too, right?
That's
like,
right.
Hey, asparagus is far better when it's all wrapped up in bacon.
Everything's better in bacon.
Oh,
if there's one thing that drag
you wrap
racers
bacon
do,
around a titty, it's better, dude. I'm telling you. Yeah.
Yeah, there's one thing that racers do almost as good as racing, and that's cook. And and Brent and them, they throw down. It's, hey, we got some ribs, and I'm like, hey, look, I'm right here. Y'all come from the pits to here. Bring me a plate. Like you know where I'm at. Come on with it. And next thing you know, I'm like, all right, in the right lane. Brent Self.
Dude,
but I mean, that's what makes everything good.
Al Tucci and I were announcing a pro mod race at Ennis one time. Year and a half ago, 2 years ago, whatever it was. We're there, and I don't remember what it was that I said, but I said something to Tucci right when he was about to start talking while I took a bite of a hamburger, okay? So I make this smart-ass comment and take the bite, and Tucci erupts into laughter uncontrollably, which makes me laugh, and I spit burger all over the inside of the window in the tower, dude. And the thing is, we're laughing uncontrollably for minutes, and there ain't a soul there except the two other people in the tower that have a clue what the hell's going on. I mean,
people are like,
it's just the best. Yeah, they are. They're looking up like, what the hell is wrong with you two idiots? Oh, that was it. We're two idiots. As
the cheeseburger's falling off the window.
Oh, right. Completely. Hey, but at least we didn't pull a Kenny Nolling and hit it and knock it out of the damn tower. Oh, shit. Did I say that out loud?
Yeah.
Yeah. ADR, what the hell do you think you're doing? Sorry. Yeah.
I told ADR who the fuck let him back in drag racing.
The other 46 times. Jesus Christ. We're going to have a whole other show on that.
Let's stay focused. Okay.
So tell me this, though. Are you, since you're such a diehard no prep guy, what do you think about NHRA drag racing? Like big show stuff, like Pro Stock, Pro Mod, Top Fuel, Funny Cars.
I mean, everybody has their place. That to me is, I don't know. That would be way out of my range of anything I really would ever want to do. We super gas raced one time for about a year and a half, I guess, and that was kind of played out real fast in a hurry. But I mean, to be honest with you, I couldn't tell you the last time I watched the NHRA race or keep up with any of it. I just don't. I keep up with ducks races, and then we do our no prep thing. And other than that, no prep kings, I really don't care shit for that. I don't. That's not no prep racing. That's not what we race on. Them tracks that they're racing on will pull 300, 350 first round. You know, you go to where we go to where we race at, they'll pull 150 to 175 first round. You know, the later rounds they'll get good, but no prep king tracks, them aren't no prep. You can bring any one of them guys to a true no prep that we run. Every one of them. I mean, they got the technology now to keep them from knocking the tire off. They're gonna ride dots all the way down.
So by riding dots, anybody that's watching and doesn't understand, the dots are the dots on the graph for the traction control. If you're
riding dots,
Davis or
riding dots is for someone who don't want to go fast. You'll never go fast riding dots, right, Woody?
And that is absolutely true.
I don't know what a dot is.
You might have got a check in there though.
See, now here's no, but here's the thing. I
got 3 tune-ups: spin, wheelie, or fast as fuck.
That's it. That's my motto too.
From now on, I'm walking up to you and going, "Which tune-up is in the car?"
Sometimes all 3.
Oh, it's always the same one.
It's the same tune-up. You just don't know what it's gonna do.
Which it's gonna do. I prefer wheelie. I'm just saying. I mean, I'm in it only for the entertainment value. I want wheelie. So, what do you find, Brent, that the fans of your style of no prep racing, what is it that they want to see?
Well, I think at first, when it first started, they came to see all the wrecks and tearing up shit, and
that's so epic because that car is just spectacular in every way. And
for that. Sorry about that, Brent. Go ahead.
But I mean, they come. I think at first, you know, when you go. Actually, we was at a no prep race in February. We went down to one of JJ's races at Cottonwood, and they wrecked. First round, there was 16 cars wrecked, and first round.
Well, dude, if it's JJ is there, he's wrecking some shit. Like I don't know JJ,
but a lot of that.
I don't know him, but God.
I mean, I had people come back and they say, "Hey, you better do this, such and such." You know, this guy just wrecked. Well, unless it's somebody that I respect and watch, I don't pay attention to that shit. You know, because you got so many jackasses that think they know everything about setting a car up, and most of them don't know shit. You know, and they're just out there.
Right.
And I don't go off that, but I mean, a lot of the fans. I mean, I got some videos from the finish line. People, you know, they was all into it because everybody was wrecking, but. I mean, today, no prep racing, the fans are falling off of it. I mean, it's just cut way back, I'll be honest.
It hasn't changed. What made it popular was it was such a diverse change, and now it's the same thing. It's just the same deals. You know, you were at Armageddon, you know, what was that, Armageddon 2 when you blew your shit up big time? Was that 2 or 3?
2 years ago, whatever that was. 2 years ago.
Yeah. So you're crossing the finish line. The whole thing explodes. You know, from what the firewall forward was toast. I mean, Big U was on fire for a long time,
and hours, but it was only like a few seconds.
And you have to. I mean, talking about the no prep stuff falling off a little bit, and I don't follow it closely enough to be an authority on it. But if you're telling me it's fallen off some, and then I look at like Donald's races with everything that he's doing. One of the things that Radial tire guys have is a promoter like Donald that goes out and I mean he eats, sleeps, and drinks this deal.
Right.
And love him or hate him, he's pretty passionate about what he does. And he'll promote it with turmoil, you know, and that, I mean, he has figured out that, I mean, you can stir the pot with some shit, and that will get people fired up, whether it be racers or fans or whatever. I mean, it's no different than what's going on in the world right now. I mean, you want to see what's here. Let's pull this puppet right now, and we'll distract you with this, but you're going to go watch the news.
Right.
Everybody's watching the news right now.
Well, so what do you think? Do you think that the number of No Prep Kings events, which went through the roof this year, and has been progressively getting bigger, do you think that is impacting the rest of the No Prep racing scene negatively?
Absolutely. Yes. I mean, you take last year we were Shannon had a race. I don't remember where we was at. But anyway, No Prep Kings was coming there 3 weeks later, 50 miles up the road. So you got a family sitting there that works. They're average working people. Are they going to take their kids to Shannon's race? Yep. Or are they going to take them to the race to where can't afford to go to both? They're going to take them to this race over here.
Right.
And it's affecting the small time. And, I film, we street race, we do it all. But there's going to be a day them cameras are going to walk out of here. And when they do,
yep. Oh, and that day is going to come all your little mom and pop promoters
that's been out there that's paid us $15,000 or $20,000 or $25,000 to win No Prep, they're going to be done. They're going to be out of the way, and they're affecting it big time.
And I'm glad you brought up Shannon, because when Shannon started at Kennedale, okay, back in the day, and I know everybody on here knows Kennedale, dude, people thought she was crazy, right? Doing the events like she was doing. And she just kept at it. And anybody that knows Shannon knows that she doesn't take no for an answer. Right. And she will whoop your ass. And she is, she is abrasive and all those things, like any man would be as a promoter of a race, right?
I think she is the Donald Long.
I agree.
I agree. Because she is the one that started this and really pushed it before, in my opinion, before anybody else was doing it very big. And she has paid the price with No Prep Kings, right?
We got to get her, we got to get her back to where she was. I mean, obviously, a lot of wind has taken her out, a lot of wind has been taken out of her sails. I had to think about that. With all this deal, like Brent said, hey, I can't put my neck out there as a promoter saying I'm going to put this race on for the segment of people that have supported me forever, because the fans aren't going to be able to make both.
Right. Well, so here's what I have a question then for the two of you guys, because the No Prep versus Radial thing. You just said earlier, Woody, before Brent got on, that the way to make Radial racing where a stock wheelbase car that's not a Pro Mod car can compete in RVW and the fastest classes is to run everybody at night. So what if we did the ultimate event? What if we did an event that was No Prep from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m.? We did the No Prep event during the day, right? And then scrape that son of a bitch, spray the holy dog shit out of it. The No Prep guys start drinking, and we go Radial racing all night long. What about that kind of event? We could combine both of them and get everybody involved.
It would be cool. The only, from a racer and a fan perspective, and I've had these debates with Donald,
right,
for hours and hours on end. Like, you go and you watch the UFC, or you do a pay-per-view on the UFC, and with speed video and the pay-per-view stuff that's going on and all of this. Have any of you ever logged on for your pay-per-view subscription for the UFC at 10 o'clock in the morning to watch a fight?
Nope.
You're not wanting to watch that there.
That's true.
And that's where I think it would take away from the No Prep guys.
Right.
In that scenario, now if I was going to do something in that realm, maybe we go and we scrape the track one night and we just shut everything down. If we're going to do a dual event, you scrape the track, you don't glue it, and you have a No Prep deal on Friday night, and then you do 2 rounds of qualifying for Radial on Saturday night, and you could do a dual event there to where,
because you then run the eliminations for Radial on Sunday.
You just do a top 8.
I gotcha. Yep.
You do an 8-car qualifier. I mean, you have your 40 cars that show up.
Right.
You get 2 qualifiers. You make the top 8. You race Saturday night.
I like it.
You do a Saturday night shootout, and it's a No Prep shootout on Friday night.
Yep.
And then if you're going to do a dual event, that's the way to do it. Or it'd be vice versa. I mean, it would have to be. It depends. I would hate to take away from the other class or the other deal, because that's at prime time is when you want to be running.
Right.
I don't care which one of us.
When we originally started Holly to do this race here, that's what it was going to be. Friday night was going to be no prep. Then Saturday night, we were going to do just what you said. We were going to get 2 hits, and then we were going to take the top 16, or 8, depending on car count. And then if the prep guy, Radial guys run Friday night's no prep and lucked up and won it, and then they won the Radial prep, we were going to give a $10,000 bonus. And then we were going to pay 10 each night, 10 Friday night, 10 Saturday night. But then we decided, wait a minute, we want to race in both, so we're going to have to race till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning Friday night, change the car over all night. We don't have, I got me and one guy, and my guy mainly, he does good to check air pressure. I mean, I'm really not.
Don't talk about Byron.
I love Byron. I wouldn't count Byron.
That's not nice, dude.
I wouldn't count Byron.
I'm telling Byron you said that.
But no, it was going to be a lot of work for it. And then so we decided just to do testing Friday night. But that's going to be an awesome event to have.
I've got a dumb question. How do you turn Holly Springs?
Well, you don't. That's a no prep Kings track. That's a no prep Kings, no prep.
You just don't. If you don't prep it, then it's no prep.
So I was saying you could drag that, you could scrape that thing completely clean, and it's still got grip. I guarantee it.
Now, okay, so here's before we have to move on here pretty soon. One thing that used to piss me off about Shannon's events, and God, I bitched at her about this a bunch, and now right here I'm telling everybody, Shannon, I agreed with you. I used to hate that she wouldn't let you do a burnout across the starting line, okay, at any of her events, because she said that was prep. And I only cared about it because, I mean, we were racing the wagon, dude. We had no chance of beating anybody. We're just doing big burnouts. So all I cared about was spraying the thing on the burnout and doing a 350-foot long burnout next to Larson in our truck.
And then I was about drag racing. The burnout.
Yeah, is burnouts. And I was going to kick the door open and back that son of a bitch up just like he's doing in the truck as fast, because Larry ain't the only guy that backs up fast from a burnout. And we were going to have a great time with it. Shannon's like, I don't give a shit if you're putting a show on or not. You ain't doing no burnout past my starting line. And I'm like, you suck. And I'm like, well, what are you going to do if I do it? She's like, well, you're disqualified. And I'm like, well, I don't care. I'll do one burnout. It'll be rad. And Larry's like, yeah, but I care, you asshole. I'm like, oh, fair enough. Okay, yeah. So we couldn't do it. But now I agree with that because, like you said, dude, you go out there, and we all know that at No Prep Kings, team orders exist. There are plenty of times where one 405 driver is running before another and goes out there and does a much bigger burnout than normal or what have you, just to make sure they're laying stuff down and whatever. It is what it is. But
your idea for the mega event, why not do it at a 4-lane track?
No, we've already done that. See, with Streetcar Super Nationals has radial prep lanes and slick tire lanes. They won't do it at Charlotte. They'll only do it at Vegas. You guys were there.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
And it's epic, and that's the only reason there should be 4-lane drag strips. 4-lane drag strips are as queer as a football bat. There is no reason for that bullshit. But if you do it, the two reasons, radial prep, slick prep, and to run bracket races where you run a pair, unfortunately, they've spent millions of dollars to put 4 lanes in on a drag strip, but they didn't spend $5 to put 2 computer systems in.
Right.
So they cannot do that.
One timing system.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Exactly. Sorry. I know. I asked the day they mowed down the wall at Vegas, are we going to do this? We'd have to buy another $5,000 computer.
Oh, not some more CompuLink.
Before I forget.
Yes.
And to go back to Brent's comments about the fans kind of falling off on the no prep stuff that they're doing, not necessarily the game show, the no prep racing. One of the things that Shannon may have to pull out of her arsenal, and I hate to say that he's got a great idea with it, but the 80-year-old don't, doing a car parking and a free ticket entry to get the fans in there.
Yep.
That's something that she may want to entertain Especially if she could pick up a sponsor to put on that ticket. No different than Haney's deal.
Yes.
Go down with the casino sponsoring it and putting something on the back.
Yeah, I mean that Bristol race I went to for the first 100,000 to win. They didn't even call it No Prep Kings there. It was $10 a carload, and they packed that bitch. They was walking 2 miles to get in there.
Oh yeah, dude. Haney's done $15 a carload forever. And I've always said it doesn't matter how much the ticket is or the parking is or the hot dogs are or any of that. No. A family is going to have a specific amount of money they are willing to spend. And they will spend it no matter what. So if you have a bigger profit margin on hot dogs than you do on, whatever, then just let them spend the money on hot dogs. You're going to get their money anyway. Just let them spend the money.
They got $100 to spend.
You're not business 101. You're not going to get their money anyway. The only way you get their money is if you get them in the gate.
That's it. 100%.
So, and that's where as much as I have some dislikes, if you will, problems with some of the stuff that have happened in the past. The business model behind it
is great.
Complete sense.
I agree.
It's a magic, and if somebody took that, and it maybe Shannon would be a great one to take that business model and really roll with it and find somebody that a company that would get behind her and sponsor some of the payout stuff or whatever. I would hope that she would at least entertain that idea.
No Prep Kings come in. She had at one time Shannon had a lot of sponsors, but then when No Prep Kings come in, well, wait a minute. Do we go over here and hand her something that's going to get a little speed video time, this or that, or we go right here to national television?
Yep.
So they go to pulling off.
That's it.
Yeah, that's why I think she needs to diversify and go after one big player. You know, to have a bunch of sponsors. I mean that was good getting started, but you do free ticket stuff and pack people in the stands.
Yep.
And whether it's flyers or handout or hell, it might be as simple as the only way you get in is with a real email address.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just to do email blogs on whatever product this company might be promoting.
Oh yeah.
There's tons of ideas, and that I mean to collect that data. If they had a scanner on every ticket coming through the gate that you had to have an email address to be able to send them something. I mean, there's tons of ideas there in marketing to be able to collect that stuff. So,
but I mean,
well, and that's kind of a good segue because the truth of the matter is, in the last 10 years, NHRA has done so much on that front to grab everybody's information, to target their audience as much as possible, and in some ways it's worked, and in other ways it hasn't. But dude, they have done that. I mean, huge. And our next guest, Cameron Ferre, is coming on here in just a few minutes. So Brent, we're gonna have to send you. I wish you could talk some smack to the Top Fuel guy, but we'll have to wait for another episode. I hope we can ask you back, dude. It's been great to have you on board.
I appreciate y'all having me.
All right, drag racing friends would like to welcome the only guy on the show tonight who has both raced a Top Fuel dragster and been smacked by the little bitch, Steve Torrance. Cameron Ferre, how are you?
Well. How's it going, gentlemen?
Quite the intro.
Thanks for that.
We're doing good. How are you doing with all this crazy off season that's got to be driving you nuts?
Dude, it's nuts. There's been not much going on. There's a lot going on in my personal life, which is all good. But racing kind of sucks because obviously I'm in California and we can't pretty much do anything at all. So I did get to go do an off-road race last week with my sponsor Impy. Yeah, I did the Snore 250 in Caliente, Nevada in a Class 11 Volkswagen.
I saw that actually. And dude, a Class 11, are you guys all familiar with Class 11? Okay, Class 11 is the most hardcore class in off-road racing because All you can do is take a stock Volkswagen Bug and lift it about 2 inches and put a slightly larger tire on it, and that's it. And dude, the Class 11 at Baja 1000, they very rarely finish the race, and they get beat all to hell in those cars. It is brutal. Yeah,
dude, it was gnarly, and because Impy is one of the largest manufacturers for Volkswagen products, obviously, so they wanted to do it for a marketing campaign, and they asked me if I wanted to be involved, and I was like, hell yeah, absolutely. So I was a co-driver, and I was gonna maybe drive the second lap, but unfortunately, we didn't make it to the second lap.
No, because you ended up upside down.
This is where we ended up, but. Yeah, it's
sweet marketing.
Oh yeah, they put a cage. Yes, they have safety stuff in them. Yes.
Has a cage, some tires, and literally that's it. But and some Fox shocks. But yeah, no, we came around the corner onto a fire road. He clicked it into third gear, and all of a sudden he goes, "Oh shit, we're fucked!" And like the ass of the Volkswagen like dipped down, and I said, "Huh?" like over the radio, because we have like the rugged radios. I said, "Huh?" and literally as I said, "Huh," we were tumbling on the fire road. So I know. So and Beetle, oh yeah, it was the first race on the car too. It totally sucked. But what happened was the wheel actually must have side loaded it at some point, and it cracked the wheel, and the wheel actually went over the lug nuts and flew off, and it just dropped, dug in, and there we are.
Oh my God, that's epic.
And see, this is where I'm going to solidify my part in this debate. If Woody Mark would have been there, we would have fixed that.
Yeah, it gets more interesting. So we tried, and because the car really wasn't that bad. After I was able to kick the door open and get out, I got the driver out, and because he was stuck in his belts, he couldn't get out. So we finally got him out, and we're sitting there for like an hour and a half trying to figure out what to do, because we lost the wheel. The wheel was gone. It went off a cliff. And so, so we never recovered it. And so we got the spare I was able to get it out of the hood. And so we put it on, took all the brakes apart, got the housing and everything off. And we put the wheel on. And in the midst of that, one of the fenders was just literally just flailing there. And I said, "Oh, let me take this off so it doesn't hurt somebody."
Right.
Well, literally right as I said that, I was taking the last fender bolt off, and I said, "Corey, like grab the fender just so it doesn't fall on the ground." And he grabbed it, and all of a sudden I hear this, and he goes, "Ah!" And yeah, he like sliced his finger off, and like not off, but almost off.
Holy crap!
Yeah, and he was like he just turned white, and I'm like, "Oh my God!" And we're in the middle of the desert and got nothing. And he's like, "It's really bad, man. It's really bad." And so, long story short, we sat out there for another 2.5 hours. And he's like, "Man, I really got to get to the hospital. This is not good." All I had was a red rag and a roll of duct tape.
That's plenty.
So, dude, that's like, I could put an arm back on with that.
Yeah. So then we...
do you forget that you also had the fender, which you could have used
hold it above your heart and drive one-handed?
That's exactly what he did, but the problem was we couldn't get it rolled back over because it stopped upside down, so we couldn't tip it over. So we got it like kind of rocking, but it was up against the hill, and anyways, it didn't work. So finally we ended up getting rescued and ended up in the ER, and he had to get 25 staples in his hand.
Was he also a small individual?
25 staples in his hand. It was in the hand, not the finger?
From like the point of his index finger, like all the way to like his palm.
Wow.
Yeah. It was real bad. Yeah.
So
anyway, other than that, it was a great time. I had a blast. All the dudes were awesome.
So do you think they'll ever invite you back or no?
Yeah, they want me to do it again in a couple weeks.
Right.
So, yeah.
You're like, hey, just make sure you keep your gloves on. Just saying. Safety first. Gloves on at all times.
Absolutely. So.
Right. Hey, my first car was a '71 Super Beetle. So
yeah, no, it's rad. Hey. Like I have never. I mean, all my friends I've grown up with, obviously in California, everybody races some sort of off road or something. Has a lifted truck and drives over curb.
Right. It sounds like you ought to put Beetle fenders on the Top Fuel dragster.
Super comp car.
And that way you've got a touch mechanism at the end of the track. Cut somebody off.
Yeah,
smack me, I'm going to cut your finger off.
Oh, boy.
But yeah, other than that, not too much has been going on other than just waiting to figure out what's going to happen with the racing world.
Good photo ops.
So the rest of the world may not know. I mean, a lot of people do, but everybody may not know the whole history of you. You've you've grown up in the sport of drag racing. You also are the sort of the Hollywood kid, growing up. I mean, you did the TV thing and all that stuff growing up. But you've grown up around racing, and this has been your passion for years and years and years. You've done you did junior dragsters, you've done, super comp, etc. But your whole goal has always been to run a fuel car, right? So you did injected nitro top alcohol, class. You've run nostalgia funny cars. And now, driving the big show, Top Fueler is just cool. But you also have had this career in the automotive aftermarket, right? You worked for a race pack for so long.
Yep.
But now you took a complete departure from that, dude. And you're sort of like the young Gary Densham all of a sudden.
Yeah. Honestly, my dad is a college professor, and we've had body shops my whole life, and that's kind of how we got into racing, because I used to ride motocross a bunch, and my dad's had a custom graphics business my whole life, and I always would work with him and whatnot. And he started teaching years ago. He used to run the training center for DuPont for a long time.
Okay.
And he had always taught part-time, when it was DuPont, but he taught part-time at a community college for as long as I can remember. And there was an opportunity while I was at Racepack, because I went to school for marketing. I went to college and did that whole deal, and because that's what I wanted to race and wanted to be in the automotive aftermarket. And as I was doing that, I got a call from my dad's friend, whom I used to work for years ago when I was in college. I ran his body shop, and he said, "Hey, I'm teaching at Compton College. Are you interested in picking up a paint class? I need an instructor. You have a degree, blah blah blah." I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So it was just like some extra side cash kind of thing. And then when Racepack kind of went defunct, or whatever you want to call it, there was no way I was going to be moving to Bowling Green, Kentucky. So I opted out of that situation. And actually, right at that same time, there was a job opening at my dad's school, and for a full timer. And yeah, I actually got the job, which was shocking.
So you're Professor Ferre?
Yep.
Whoa.
College instructor. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. So now auto body and paint, collision, estimating, all that.
Wow. So what is your frame equipment?
Well,
preference?
we teach on everything cheap velocity stuff, and we have a couple different things. We're actually in the process before the.
What are you using in your
in our shop,
shops?
like
in your family body shops?
Oh, we don't have anything anymore.
Like what you own?
Yeah, no, we got rid of it all.
Okay.
Now I'm just teaching full time, and we have a shop, but it's just custom graphics stuff. We don't do any frame pulling, and if obviously it sounds like you're in the body shop industry, you probably know that it's real hard to make money at it in the state of California anymore because of all the laws and all the stuff. So.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm
a Fireliner.
Yeah, we actually we have one of those at the shop too, or at the school too. So like I said, we have a couple different stuff. So it's a great job. I love it. It's 4 days a week, and then the summer and the winter off, so I can go racing. So it works out. So it's weird to walk in and people because I live a double life, because nobody really has any idea that I race until another student says something or whatever. And,
right.
And then next thing you know, they're all fans and whatnot, and yeah. So.
Pretty sure that's going to change here in the next couple of years.
So, tonight's subject has been sort of the radial tire racing world versus the no prep world versus the NHRA world. And Woody and Brent have been on here, and then we had Brent Self, who's from the no prep world. He was with us just before you. We've been talking about aspects of all of these kinds of racing, the good, the bad, the everything. Woody grew up in, going to the U.S. Nationals at Indy, right? I mean, following NHRA drag racing. But the world of NHRA drag racing is considerably different now than it was when you were growing up, than I was growing up, Woody was growing up. I mean, it's just not the same as it used to be. And maybe some of that's good and maybe some of that's bad. But why is it that NHRA drag racing is just, it's what you love?
Why is that for me?
Yeah.
Honestly, that's a good question, because when I was growing up, we didn't really race. I raced BMX and motocross when I was a kid, right. And just kind of, whoa, as I fell off my chair. I did.
I know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Pretty good. Things over.
There's a trend here.
Don't cut your hand.
Yeah. There we go. Touche. So leading into that, I kept getting hurt quite a bit in motocross and BMX, and I just kind of, my dad took me he painted a helmet for, I forget who it was, but years ago we went and delivered it to the racetrack at Pomona, and he took me there and saw the junior dragsters on display, and I was like, dude, this is rad. Yeah. And I saw Top Fuel make a run, and I was sitting on my dad's shoulders, and I was like 7 or 8, and I said, Dad, I'm going to do that one day. And from that day forward, I figured out how to do it. And then you touched on the acting thing, and my parents didn't buy me a race car. My parents didn't, they said they'll support me, but they're not going to just go out and buy me a race car. And, we live at the beach, like we got 3 kids, we surfed, skated, and, that kind of thing. And so I was an actor, made my own money, and bought my own race cars at 12 years old and started racing. So that's kind of the short answer, but it's just there's something about drag racing that you can't get anywhere else. The sensation of speed in a dragster there's nothing like it. And the grind to get to that point, like you talked about, things aren't what they used to be. Like when I was a kid, I mean, you're looking at Larry Dixon and all these people making $300,000-$400,000 a year or whatever, getting Prevost buses and all this stuff from Winston, and like those days are kind of over. Which is unfortunate, because it's like I worked my whole life to get to that point, and then it was like, hey, just kidding, you have to pay for your ride now. So it's if I would have known that back then, maybe I would have chose a different career path, but I probably would have still raced something of some sorts, because when I was a kid, I had the opportunity to race go-karts, quarter midgets, whatever, and I picked drag racing because of that one day. I said, there is nothing on the planet that's faster than that, and I'm going to do that. So here we are.
So when you see the, no prep racing scene, is it of any interest to you?
Yeah. I mean, there was always something about nitro that always caught my eye, but if I had an opportunity, if somebody said, hey, do you want to drive this or whatever, absolutely, like I'd give it a shot. A little secret that nobody really knows about me is I've never driven a door car. I've never driven anything with doors.
I know. Yeah. And I was going to say that, actually.
Yeah.
I've never in a door car down a drag strip.
The only bodied car I've ever driven was I drove Nostalgia Funny Car for 3 years, I think. And yeah, but it doesn't even have doors, right? So, yeah.
What's your daily driver?
2500 diesel truck, just Chevy Duramax.
Dude.
Yeah.
Have you ever flipped anything?
Yes, last weekend.
Yeah. Now,
he wasn't responding the wheel.
I've seen Cameron make a lot of runs down a drag strip, a lot of nostalgia funny car stuff. I've seen him go in the sand at the Nostalgia Drags one time, and I got to tell you, the single greatest part about that whole thing was when you walked up to the scaffolding and you were down there and you're telling me the story and talking about your mom.
Dude, she was dying. Like, just tell her I'm all right, because literally the EMT is going to have to be in the stands because she was going to lose her mind. So, yeah.
I'll let you drive my door car if you let me.
There's no button.
Well, we'll have to. There's no button for one. But we'll have to we could discuss that with my team owner, and we could maybe make that happen.
So tell us a little bit about your team owner and the car that you drive, because that's a pretty special arrangement you've got.
Yeah, I got my license with the Peyton Racing in 2015, and obviously it's very expensive to run these cars. So I made my debut in 2015 with Peyton's, and then we only did the one race, and then I kind of went back to A Fuel because I had a deal there, and then I was in Vegas driving for Johnny Otten at the time, and Todd, my old boss at Racepack, hit me up. He's like, hey man, like, Terry's looking for a driver. His driver fell off the planet or whatever happened, and they need somebody for Pomona. Do you want to do it? I'm like, yeah. So I went and talked to him, and literally he's like, who the hell's this kid? He looks like he's 9. Like, you want me to you want to drive my car? Like, really, next weekend? Like, okay,
Yeah.
And anyway, we met. He put a little booster seat in the car and a 4-inch extension on the steering wheel, and I put some money together at SEMA the next week and drove. And I literally, I thought it was just going to be, hey, I'm just going to keep my license current, and it was just going to be a one race deal. And then at the end of the season, because it was at Pomona in November, and he hit me up in the winter and he said, hey man, Terry said, I really had a lot of fun with you. Would you be interested in driving next year? And I said, yeah, hell yeah. So Terry Haddock is a guy that's kind of been out there for 25 years. Just he's a working man.
Yep.
He, a lot of people have misconceptions about him, but he's a down to earth, super cool dude. And he gave me an opportunity that no one else would. Everybody that I've ever talked to, I've been in all the rigs that you can imagine. I've had driver development deals with big name teams that, they all kind of skunked me over. And Terry didn't look at me with my wallet first. He looked at me as a kid that just wanted to make it like he did. And, he looked at that and we kind of went from there. And it's been almost 2 years now, and we're still going, and we're doing everything we possibly can. It's extremely hard for us because we are the lowest budget team out there. Like, we maybe make 1 or 2 qualifying runs just to make it happen when the fields are short or whatever, but it's not because we don't want to make every run. Like, we just don't have the funding. So it's literally like we're out there like eating top ramen, but that's why we love it so much. We're willing to do whatever we can to make it happen, and we just don't want to throw parts on the ground. We want to go out there and be competitive.
Dude,
one day,
you need a Woody Mart sponsorship that's just food. Woody,
yeah, hell yeah,
come on. I can sell you a
I-
very good deal on the side of that car, because Cameron knows, like, I'm pitching people all the time for him.
Oh, dude, Chad hits me up all the time. He's like, dude, what do we need for this weekend? And I tell him, and he's like, all right, I'm on it. So yeah, no, Chad is a big advocate for me.
I get. We may only make 2 qualifiers, but we will.
exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You might have to move some powers around in the
That's
car.
fine. That's the great thing about me. I literally weigh like 80 pounds. So,
I think that's what.
So-
stand it.
Go ahead.
I think that's what's cool. You hear a lot of these, stories. Like, you either have 2 paths in this deal. You're either like born into it, like your dad or uncle or brother or something, raced all this stuff, and you just natural evolution. And then you have these other guys that just everything just kind of lines up in the right place at the right time, and the next thing you know, like, you hit it off, and all your hard work and everything, you're like, this is it, like, because of these other guys saw me for what I am, and not, he can afford to split half this bill type deal. It's like, he's in it, and I want to be a part of that. That's what makes it an awesome story.
That's the hard part, because I'm Gen 1. Like, I mean, when I bought my first junior dragster, like, we knew nothing. We threw it in the back of my dad's buddy's truck because we didn't even know a truck at the time. And, like, went to Pomona. My first race was at Pomona, and I didn't even hardly know what a dial-in was. And we just went for it. And to go from that being, like, that kid in the stands to literally, being at the same track at Pomona, like, that's why Pomona's so special to me. I started my career there, and I've actually won a national event there in Super Comp, and then to drive Top Fuel there, like, I feel like I've like done all the steps you're supposed to do. It's just a matter of getting that big corporate funding that we all need, and that $4 million that it takes to really do it.
That's the luck.
So
Right.
so that's the number, $4 million a year if you want to compete with Schumachers and those guys.
Yeah, it's about 3 to 4 million. I mean, but at this day and age, if you get anything, pretty much, people will probably consider taking it, especially now. I mean, probably if you had 700,000 to 800,000, you could probably get a pretty decent ride. But
Yeah.
Still that.
See, we just need to team up. Like, if you're really 80 pounds, my Corvette's been 365.
Right.
Well, with my gear on, I'm
215,
like 148.
But the height is the same.
Real numbers.
Like, the height is
No,
the same.
True.
You're 150 pounds lighter than me with gear on. So if the truth is told that a tenth is or 100 is worth a tenth, hell, we could put you in the car and go 346 tomorrow.
Dude, now
This is
interesting
an
thing.
amazing show. Because
It
we
is.
got Woody Mart locked into going to Black Sheep Mafia versus the world, and
Yes.
now we got Cameron. He's going to be going racing. He's going to be going
Yes.
radio
Hell
racing.
yeah.
RVW, man.
RVW.
And here's the other thing about this. Here's the funny thing. Everybody is so opinionated about their form of drag racing, right? And Cameron is driving what many people would consider the pinnacle of cars, right? But because he hasn't driven any of the other stuff, he just has all the respect in the world for it. Like, he thinks it's rad because he's like, I've never driven it, so it's awesome.
I can
Yeah, hell yeah.
I can already tell that if he could do a burnout in a golf cart, he would be, or in a shopping cart,
and
he
you
would
know,
be pushing.
here's the funny thing. It's one of the things that Cameron and I have like always gotten along so well and had in common is that passion. I grew up with drag racing I was at the drag strip when I was a month old, but the thing is that I never had the money or any of that to do anything real serious, right? We just did what we did. But at one point in my life when I was working in the corporate world, I had the money to be able to go to Roy Hill's drag racing school. And quite frankly, I was making enough money I could have went to it 10 times. It wouldn't have mattered. But I went to Roy Hill's school, and in typical Roy Hill fashion, he was a pain in the ass, and he told me I couldn't do it because all I'd done was drove a stock eliminator car, and that I was never going to get a pro stock license because I already had bad habits or whatever. And I said, do you want my money or not? Like, just shut up and take my money. And he goes, well, you can't get your license this class. I said, well, then do I need to write you a check for the next class? It's in 2 weeks, and I'll be there. It's not a big deal, right? Well, unlike everybody else, again, who, like you said, is one of two things. Either really passionate about it and scrapes and scrounges to do it, or they grow up in it. I didn't grow up in that pro stock world. I got my license in one class. And I was the first person to ever get their pro stock license in one class at Roy Hill whose dad didn't own a pro stock car.
That's awesome.
Because everybody else had driven their dad's shit and then went there to get their license because they, needed somebody to teach them what to do. But it was fun. It was awesome. And I had big plans to race pro stock and had the opportunity to drive a top alcohol dragster that I didn't take because I was stupid. And, all those things.
Yeah, you should have done that.
I know. I should have done that. But
it's a fun ride.
But it's, it is what it is. And the passion is what drives everybody. I mean, through all that we've been talking about today, you notice, so Woody and Brent, you guys know that Self is on, and what was everything he said, the underlying theme here was he's having a great time and he loves drag racing, right? He loves the no prep racing scene. You guys are the same way with radial racing. And Cameron is that way with anything fast. I mean, hell, he got, anything powered. You got in a class 11 bug, for God's sake, and drove across the desert.
And that's just it.
Anything that's on four wheels.
Yes.
Even too, I'm a huge dirt bike advocate, and I love all that stuff. I mean, I'm not really into the drag bike stuff, but honestly, anything going fast. I mean, my wife is into it. She got her license in Super Comp, and she stole my Super Comp car from me that I apparently don't own anymore. I just paid for it.
Yeah. and broke it, by the way. Not her fault, but yes.
Yeah, and broke it.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I mean, that's all we want to do. We live and breathe it, and my kid is the same way. He'll be 2 in August, but he's already dad dragster, go-kart drag. The only words he knows is, I mean, he sits on the dirt bikes and stuff behind me and the go-karts and stuff, and every day all he wants to do is ride his bike. And I mean, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I'm not going to force him, but he's going to have every opportunity that I didn't have when I was a kid to be able to pursue his dreams. I mean, I'm not saying my parents didn't support me, because they did 100 times over.
Yeah.
But
that's our job as parents, though.
Yeah, absolutely. And if he wants to go play baseball, it'll break my heart. But, that's what he's going to do,
Absolutely.
But seeing that, yeah, you see those people that their kids are in the juniors and parents spend ungodly amounts of money. You see the rig and the toter and the stacker pulling, and they roll out a junior dragster, and the kids just aren't into it, and the parents are like, I've spent all this fucking money and blah, blah, blah. They got to be in it.
Funny.
They got to have a passion to it.
And it doesn't matter whether that's drag racing or baseball or football or anything.
Oh, yeah.
How many parents want to try and live vicariously through their kid? They want their kid to be the pro whatever because they never made it. And I get it, and expose your kids to whatever, but dude, whatever they want to do, let them do it,
Yeah, and I mean, I can at least say that I made it to the pinnacle of drag racing, and I've lived it, I've tasted it, I know what it's like. I mean, sure, I'm not, multi-time world champion, or I haven't won a race in a Top Fuel car yet or whatever, but I can at least say that I set out a goal when I was a kid and I made it happen. So if I can just instill that in my kid, whether it's golf, hockey, I don't give a shit, whatever.
Right.
That's great, but if he wants to race, hell yeah. I hope he races Supercross. if anything. But
Ooh.
I have a feeling he's probably gonna want a door car because his mom all she does is say pro mod to him and pro stock.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's why I
I'm
love
okay with
Angie
that.
so much, dude. Dude, I have to say, Cameron, I've been on your podcast, and I'm so glad you came on the show today. And you know how much I've always supported you and will continue to, no matter what. You do great things, and you do it for the right reason. That's what matters. And Brent and Woody, you guys, I mean, I will bust your balls incessantly forever, and I expect the same from you. But you guys, too, know how much I love you guys and appreciate you guys being on the show today. It's been cool. It's been fun. I hope you guys will all come back for sure.
Yeah, hell yeah. Thanks for inviting me. This is super cool. And, we have a podcast too. So if you guys ever want to come on that, Chad's been on it, and it's called Racers Rental Cars. Check it out too. But a lot of the Power Automedia people have been involved in it. So it's a cool deal. All we would like to do is talk drag racing like you guys. And, we all just love the sport. You need to be on
that. It's Racers in Rental Cars. Hello.
Yeah, no, I'd love to, and glad to meet you, Cameron.
Yeah, you guys too.
I followed you. Obviously, I love all forms of drag racing, from Top Fuel to even the no prep queens that we watch sometimes. But I love it all.
Series to NPQ, dude. It's no prep queens. It's so spectacular.
Dude, I like those race informational videos the best.
Yes.
Those are awesome. We're going to have, those are great videos.
90% of those were made in this garage.
Dude, him and Tim Anderson did some amazing stuff at Race Pack together. And
it's a shame,
right? But I am fortunate to be able to work with both of them still. I love it. So.
I mean, it's good to see that we're all able to race within our means. You know what I mean? That's really what kind of brings us all together. Generally.
What you don't see is Cameron only has the garage. He doesn't have any. There's nothing.
My wife was looking over across the room whenever he said that, and she's like, "What the hell's this guy smoking?"
Whether it's Pro 275 or whatever, we can afford to do it, so we do it. We could all enjoy a boat on the weekend or something, but we want to just keep on racing, keep on working on cars, keep on coming and announcing and interviewing all y'all dumbasses and everything at Woodstock for the 15th time, and be like, "What's new today?" It's just we just all love it, and that's I think that's what makes it the best.
It is, and the funny thing, Barrett, the thing that I love about it is that while we all give each other hell and we have a good time bashing on each other and all that, as long as people are going down a drag strip in something, I don't care if it's their daily driver minivan, if they are supporting their drag strips, they're going down the racetrack, then they're doing what's right, because that's all that matters is we keep drag racing alive.
Yeah.
That's right. Absolutely. And, when any of you boys are ready for some little Top Fuel weenie to get in one of them door cars.
The door car is down there. There's no door car here.
I'll pass Cameron's number on to you guys, and you guys will be set.
And if 140 pounds is not enough for you, you'd probably make my wife's life if you wanted her to drive it, because she literally weighs 80 pounds. And
maybe we'll have to make a date with you in Vegas at the Streetcar Supernatural.
Yeah.
Make a rip and a radio.
That would be awesome.
Hell yeah.
All right. We're making magic happen right here on the Racing Friends.
Matchmaker.
You heard it here.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait. Cameron, have you ever spooled up a turbo car?
What's that?
Have you ever spooled up a turbo car?
It'll be like Craig all over again.
I have not.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Okay, that's it. We're done. All of y'all are cut off.
Oh, shit.
Barrett Green, thank you once again for being the co-host from hell. I love you, brother. Cameron, Woody, Brent, thank you. We are all in, all done. That is the end of episode 6. I have no idea if they'll let us do another one after this.
Definitely not.